Hey, welcome back to the State of Love and Trust. It's episode 285, and this week we are talking about Vitalogy. We're giving it the superlatives treatment with two amazing writers. Friend of the show making her third appearance. You know her from Music for Rhinos, Billboard, Spin. Jessica Letkemann comes back, and making his debut, Pearl Jam 20 author Jonathan Cohen. It's all next. Superlatives, Vitalogy on the State of Love and Trust.
Hey, I'm Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Hey kids, this is Mark Arm from Mudhoney.
I'm Kevin Martin from Candlebox.
Hi, I'm Dave Cruzen.
I'm Tim Montana.
Hey, I'm James Joseph from James and the Cold Gun.
I am Matt Vaughn from Easy Street Records.
This is Richard Stuverud. And this is the State of Love and Trust.
The State of Love and Trust.
The State of Love and Trust.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Feed that algorithm.
Welcome, everybody, to an episode of The State of Love and Trust. It's a Pearl Jam podcast, and one of your two hosts, Jason Kerepesi, and alongside me, as always, is
Paul Ghiglieri.
Paul, we're simpatica with the Vitalogy adjacent merchandise.
We are.
If you like this, you can buy it, and that helps support the show. Links below. Bing, bing, bing. But the easiest thing to do is here on YouTube, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and if listening only, Paul Ghiglieri.
Well, hopefully you're going to rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm. 'Tis the season to be merry and well fed. Feed it, please. We need it. Feed it because we need it.
Well fed. Okay.
Yeah.
December, new month, new fundraiser. We're hitting EBRP, second time around for them. We love that nonprofit. So send your money over there. And if you are the greatest donator, you're getting the Eddie Vedder Ohana Festival poster and stickers and pins. So that sticker and pin pack and poster set is yours if you send the most money to EBRP this month. And the Patreon giveaway for all of our patrons is a copy of Cameron Crowe's The Uncool. So if you're a patron, you might get this. So pretty good stuff this month, Paul.
I love
it. On
it.
a high note.
Yeah, I like it. Very generous.
Now, Paul, well, you know, we try to be. This is December. It's the season of giving, all that crap, you know? So we've done this exercise once before. No, twice before? Three times? A lot of times before, I think.
More than once, I can tell you that.
But the last time we did this was with the record 10. And our first guest for today was also on that episode many moons ago. Billboard.com, Spin Magazine, Spotify, You Know Where You Love Her, Music for Rhinos, Jessica Letkemann. Oh my God. I swallowed your name.
That's okay.
You swallowed it like a rhino. Jessica, it's great to have you back.
Thank you so much.
And for the first time, we've loved this guy's writing for a long time. He's always deep in the belly of the beast when it comes to the news, like what's happening with the listening party? What's happening with this book? How about that book over there? You know that book. Author Jonathan Cohen. Hello, sir.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Great to have you.
So I said it in the email. We are doing superlatives for Vitalogy, and everyone's got the props here ready to rock and roll. So for anybody who's new out there listening or watching, we got a whole bunch of categories. You know, best guitar riff, wow moment, song that deserves a music video, most introspective lyric, all those kinds of things. And we're going to go ahead and say a category, and then we'll scribble down answers, and we'll discuss. We'll reveal. The reveal is the best part. There's always like an ooh or an ah, I think, right?
Or an oh no.
Or an oh no. So I think we should just dive in. What do you guys say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So first category. Should we start with an easier one?
Softball. Give us a softball.
He says softball.
We have guests. Go. Play nice.
Let's play nice. All right. Here's one that won't. This is a softball. How about song most lyrically relevant in 2025?
Not a softball.
Nope. Coming in high heat. Oh yeah. We got legends in the community. We can't be throwing softballs. This isn't the Savannah Yard Goats or whatever the hell. This is the big
bananas. Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to combine.
Yard Goats.
Actually, it's the Hartford Yard Goats. That's an actual
Hartford.
team. Yeah.
All right.
It's true. All right. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Oh, I love it. Oh, Jessica.
We've got lots of different options.
I love
here.
this. Paul, Not For You. Jessica, Pry 2. And me and Jonathan with Whipping. So we'll go last, Jonathan. How about Paul, Not For You? Talk to me about Not For You.
Well, when this song came out, it was, dare I say, a very intimate and personal anthem for the band in the sense that they were sending a message to the recording industry, to the publishers, to the producers, and saying, this music is not for you. I think they were triggered to some degree by the thought that some of these suits were huge fans of their music, and they felt it was disingenuous, it was not authentic, and it was just profit engineering. And this song was a statement that the band was making about their music, and it was about taking ownership of something that's theirs. And when I think of 2025, I think of a time where we have a government and we have a system of policies and a system of laws and what should be a system of checks and balances that appears to be under significant siege. And in many respects, I think a song like this is a reminder that that system was designed to benefit every American. It was designed to benefit every person in this country, and not just the few, not just a very specific group of people, but all people. And that system is not just for you. That system is for all. And so I like the idea of a song being used in the interest of unity. And I think that there's a unifying thread in this song, even though the song was born out of opposition and protest. I think in 2025, it's the kind of song that serves as a sober reminder as to what these government institutions were designed for and who they should be serving.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to follow. Jeez.
That was a whole disquisition.
Welcome, Jonathan.
I got a book back here that says you're going to be just fine.
Jessica, Pry 2. I did not expect that on my bingo card, but I love it because I know you're going to give me the goods. What's up?
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
So obviously, at the time it was written, it was this moment of like the glaring spotlight and fame, and a person being famous not having any privacy. Obviously, that's the place where it came from back in the day. But we are in a place where we all have a little bit of exposure to the wider world, and we are on social media and we are on digital devices, and we are constantly being fed an algorithm or being asked for data, or data is being used this way and that way. And, who knows where it goes half the time. And so I feel like it's kind of transmogrified. That's a weird word. Anyway, it has changed and grown into this idea that we all have a lot less privacy than we ever did. So like any little bit that you have that is not part of some bigger machine is exceedingly priceless.
And it's impossible to get away from, right? I mean, even if you... Do you remember the whole thing on Facebook where someone was like, hey, if you post on your profile, I do not consent to Facebook. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? No, that's not how this works, dude.
I mean, basically, you have to just put your phone down and go out in the woods, if you want to have privacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, I don't know that we could have predicted in 1994 or whatever it is. I don't think we saw this coming, but weirdly, here we are in a place where not all of us have a little bit more fame and a lot less privacy.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan. I feel like Whipping was probably the most obvious answer, but it's obvious to me in a really profound way, maybe a very direct way. What are your thoughts?
To me, that song, jumping off from what Jess is talking about and what has already come up about how things sort of change but stay the same, that song is a response to attacks on people's personal freedoms at that time and things that were important to the band. And we're still raging to ensure that those things exist now. It's kind of unfortunate, but that seemed pretty relevant to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to avoid the political waters, and obviously, you rightly pointed them out, Paul. But considering, we have this us versus them, the left versus right, up versus down, the affordability crisis that we're in, and I think we're shipping tens of billions of dollars to other countries while, tens of millions of people are starving, and we're bankrupting our citizens, we're intimidating others. This nails 2025 across any grievance that you might have from this year, no matter what demographic you might be in. As the Department of Education is being shipped off to the Department of Labor and things like, what the hell are we doing? It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're one of those tiny subset that Paul was talking about. Nuts to you. Maybe here's some breadcrumbs to make you forget about it. Nah, man. Nah. And so I think, these lyrics right here don't mean to push, but I'm being shoved. I'm just like you, think we've had enough. I can't believe a thing they want us to. Oh, we all got scars. They should have them too. The whole song, I think, hits the nail on the head, but that last verse that you're left with that. I wish they played it a lot more in the last tour, because I was like, this feels so apropos.
And that song is interesting too. Just because about a year before we ever heard that one live, Eddie gave an interview somewhere backstage randomly, and he was just going off. And I don't remember what it was for, but he basically said that, the gist of the idea of that song, he wasn't talking about that song at all. He was just talking about the state of the world. He was just like, I don't understand why people in charge, how can they understand? They don't have any scars. If you don't have a scar, if you haven't been through it, then why are you in charge? And then a year later came this song. So I thought it was extremely explicit what he meant.
Yeah.
That's true, Jess. And, if I'm not mistaken, in the Vitalogy credits, there's a letter to President Clinton kind of demanding intervention into the abortion crisis that was going on at the time. Mm. And from there, it's not too far off that we see Ed get involved with Voters for Choice. Pearl Jam plays those two big shows there in 95. So there's a thread there that continued for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Let's see what the patrons had to say. We always give them some homework, some podcast homework, and ask them the exact same questions. Tied for second from their choices here are Last Exit and Not For You. And overwhelmingly, overwhelmingly with 42% whipping. That was their choice, or most common choice for song most relevant here lyrically in 2025. Okay, let's move on to maybe a happier topic, superlative that is, and best song live. Oh, he's still scribbling. This is Foxy Mom, I swear to God. One time he's like, the Sydney performance was fantastic. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I thought it'd be a clean sweep.
Were unanimous.
Cohen!
We got to lead with Jonathan here.
Yeah, of course. Tell me why Last Exit.
I don't know. Sometimes that song for me is like the temperature of a show a little bit. The groove is always there, and sometimes they play it and it takes a show in another direction because of that. Sometimes it's in the groove of a lot of other songs that are like that. So for me, it's modular in that way, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of the pure sound of the band at that time, just the chugga chugga chugga, It's also a song that I think some of us got used to because it was played live so early before Vitalogy ever came out. So I guess that all adds up for me to why I chose it.
Was your first show early? I don't know when your first show was.
No, not particularly. 92 Lollapalooza, but then it was a while after that.
They didn't play it then, but okay. When was your next show after that? You said there's a gap.
The gap was until Cleveland in 1994 at that point.
Oh, that's not that big of a gap. You're talking, I thought you were going to say like 8 years.
No, a couple of years, but
okay.
It felt like a long time then.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they were playing a ton of shows at the time, so I guess that,
that's true.
Yeah. Okay. We all said corduroy, aside from Jonathan. So, Jessica, let's go in reverse order here. Let's run the snake and go back to you.
Right. So here's the obvious thing. We've all heard this song a million times, whether you've seen them live a ton or you just listen to a lot of bootlegs. Corduroy's like been there for a long, long minute. And I just feel like no matter where you are in the world or what you're doing or who you're with or whatever, if that song comes on, the energy of the show kind of takes off. It's like one of those Given to Fly kind of songs. It kind of starts, with like hypnotic groove, and it's not necessarily like a cruncher, but it builds into this like power. You get the clapping, you get the jumping, you get, it's just, like we can talk about it lyrically until we're blue in the face and all that other stuff. But when you're at a show, the energy kind of takes over, and it's almost always a win.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it's a top 5 live song in the catalog. Some would argue it's number 1. Alive, Porch, Given to Fly, Jeremy, probably all in the conversation for that. I think for me, you kind of alluded to it there, is a little bit is the dynamics. That build up, the triple guitar attack, the hard on sleeve vocal performance, the Everything Has Changed bridge, which I think we'll find later on some other of the superlatives from our patrons, is a very beloved moment. Mike's guitar work in the outro is so good and better live. I mean, they created a whole second half of the song live with Mike, and I think that's really kind of put it over the top as well. I think Jeff said at some point that he agreed that he always thought the song was good, but it found a different level in the live environment. And I will say, all things considered, and I've heard it a million times, and sometimes people go, I'm sick of that. This is even Flows My Bathroom songs. I've heard it a million times. Okay. But like, how do you not want to be a part of that pogoing when right before the band kicks in, it builds and it brings you with you. And I can't see myself ever not wanting to be a part of that. And even though, and I've said it before, I am really not a fan of the call and response breakdown, the elongated section before they get to Everything Has Changed that started in 2015. I do not like that at all. I think it kills the momentum of the song. Nevertheless, still the best live song on the record. Paul, why are we correct?
Well, it's a staple. It's a staple because it always lands. That's number 1. I mean, this many years later, it always lands. Let's talk about the back and forth, the sing-song quality. When you said that, I thought you were going to talk about a very different line, because the line that comes to mind for me when I think of the crowd singing along is this: everything has changed, absolutely nothing's changed. That moment, it's signature, it's electric in a Pearl Jam show. I mean,
yes, that is the moment. But I'm saying before that, they elongate everything before that with the da da da.
Well, they do. But there's the architecture of that dynamic of them playing as a full band. It's just like a masterclass in tension, in release, and I think just obviously in just arrangement, the way the whole thing comes together. And so, while I love the studio version, when you hear it live, you get that like quiet intro, but it's more drawn out. It's also evolved a lot more than any other song on this album as well. When you think about the way that it builds, the way that it extends, that groovier midsection, and just different ways to play it too. It's like a living, breathing thing every time it comes out. So, best song live off the album.
Jump in for a second if I made to build on that. I went and listened back to the record a couple of times, and there's an alternate take of Corduroy on one of the issues that came out, and it impressed me kind of like how straight they were playing it. It didn't have the groove at all that it has grown into. So I think you're right that's a really great example of how something that isn't, it's an excellent studio recording and one that we all know by heart, but it really does take on a completely different character live, and for better or worse, it's still evolving this late into their career in that way.
The other thing I would add to that as well, Jonathan, just in terms of you saying this particular version and how it's evolved, and I guess I'm kind of bearing the lead here for another superlative later, but it's the perfect showcase for everybody in the band when you think about it. I mean, everybody shines when the song gets played live. So
there are some songs, especially Sometimes comes to mind, where they have added extra juice to it. I mean, there's always the complaint of like, even Flow's played too fast now. It's like, because they're amped up. And so that naturally happens with a lot of songs. You play it a little bit faster, but there is a little bit more grit and a little bit more, not swing, but there's just some more juice to the live corduroy than there is in the studio. And even more to your point, Jonathan, that alternate take. So I think that's a pretty solid choice all around, corduroy. Let's do, actually, we got to go to the patrons here. What do the patrons say? Best live song. So tied in second place, Immortality, great shout, and Better Man. But overwhelmingly, 57% is corduroy as well. Let's do song that most deserves a music video. This one, I think, can go a lot of different ways. I'm really curious to see what y'all say. Paul's still writing. Jessica, good.
I'm ready.
Good. Okay, he's ready to go. And 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness!
Oh, wow.
It would have been a clean sweep except for me. Okay, I'll go last and let you guys go first. So, Jonathan, Tremor Christ. You guys said Tremor Christ. Why?
It's the weirdest song they had ever put out to that point, kind of.
Yeah.
And it shows a whole different type of influence musically, structurally. It's just very unusual. And of all the abstract stuff that's on here, to me, that would lend itself best to being depicted in a visual form. I mean, a lot of the other songs on this record, I think in video form would be pretty earnest, or there would be the temptation to, like, I don't know, make it very literal. But this one you could do in a million different ways, and it'd be awesome.
That is true. I feel like that's what Paul's going to say, but let's go to Jessica first.
Okay. So, like Jonathan said, it's extremely cinematic. There's so much imagery in it that, I mean, you could even just make it literally from the lyrics, and it would be like, oh my God, what is this? Like, Eddie Vedder is a sea captain, and there's, there's, like a captain, like it's Moby Dick or something. I don't know. But the other part of it is a little bit weird, and I just feel like that, like, is interesting as well, because scoring something visual is a lot different, honestly, than any other kind of songwriting. So I felt like it was the closest to something that you might hear in a score or in something, made for a movie. And I would just love to see, like, I mean, the best example before that was the Mark Pellington Jeremy video. And I could even see him doing a video for that with sort of those hidden nuggets of, like, weird words across the screen flashes of other, things with oceans and, serpents and whatever.
Serpents. I guess the first time anyone ever said the word serpent on this show, Paul. It's taken us 5.5 years to.
Well, there's a serpent reference in the Jeremy video, and then Tremor Christ talks about oceans all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
That's I don't know why that flashed into my brain.
Okay, Paul. Sum up for me.
I don't know. I don't have too much to add here. I thought Jonathan and Jessica summed it up perfectly. It would make for a really cool art house video, which I think intrigues me. I agree. It's very visceral. It's one of the only songs in the catalog up to that point that the second the music hits, I see imagery, I see color, I see before I even hear lyrics. And then when the lyrics come in, as Jessica said, it's very cinematic. So I don't know. I mean, there's just something really strange and attractive and alluring, and it just kind of sucks you in. There's a magnetic quality to it. So I would love to see what it looks like.
That groove.
Yeah. I mean, I could just see like these like disorienting camera angles and, this kind of like tidal, like watery feel to the imagery, playing around with the lighting. You could go in a lot of different directions, like Jonathan said. So
I guess I'm just really boring. And, I chose Nothing Man. Wait, hey, to my credit, I didn't choose Better Man, which I think is the most obvious choice. But Nothing Man, like, I think that you could do the whole thing first person. And maybe it's black and white. Maybe certain elements are in color. So you're getting like almost like who's the guy that did Sin City? Frank Miller? It's almost like a graphic novel. You could do it that way a little bit, maybe. But the song, when I listen to it, and what I'm seeing in my head always felt cinematic to me. And I love that you guys went with Tremor Christ, because that is so interpretive And so the cinematic qualities there could be super abstract and like, wow, what am I seeing? And you're trying to guess what they mean by this certain image. Whereas this lends itself to the story that you understand, but like if I can see it, it opens up a whole new, I don't know, it adds a third dimension that obviously film or music video would. And I can also think of maybe you intercut it with Richard Stewart told us how the demo came together, where it's him and Jeff in the room. It's dark. They're kind of screwing around with this thing that Jeff had written. And then Ed walks in, lonely little lamp in the corner, writes it down. They do the demo. And then Ed's driving around Seattle that night, like 2 a.m, top down, blasting the demo, singing along to it. Like, I love to see a version of that interplayed with a first person Nothing Man, empty stairs from across a prison cell. Like, it just, I don't know. I think it would compound what I feel from that song, which is pretty heavy. So that's where I'm at. I feel like I'm kind of being a little obvious, but that's one that jumped out to me. But I love the drummer crash shout.
Could you imagine if you were like just walking down the street in Seattle in 1994 and like Eddie Vedder drove past like screaming a Pearl Jam song?
Just belting you. That hasn't been written yet.
Like, what just happened?
She once believed. All right. What do the patrons say? What do they say? Let's see here. Much more split, guys. Much more split. So we've got a 2-way tie for third between, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Whipping and Foxy Mop.
Well, I mean, if you watch that documentary, I mean.
Oh, I have. That's enough. And then a 3-way tie for second between Better Man, Not For You, and Tremor Christ. Can you guess the number one answer?
Immortality.
No.
Corduroy.
No. Jonathan, fancy a guess?
Bugs.
Great call. Oh, would you look at that?
The patrons decided that they liked Nothing Man as well.
Confirmation bias.
I see.
Okay, let's do, I got a fun one. Most Infectious Groove. What did I write? Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan is still scribbling. Cap is on. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Reveal. Yes. Thank you, Jessica. Paul again with Tremor Christ, and Jonathan with Spin the Black Circle. Paul, why Tremor Christ for Most Infectious Groove?
Well, I mean, Jonathan said it best. Up until that point, we never heard anything like this from the band before. I think that's notable, number one. It's got that, like, strangely hypnotic 6/8 feel to it, There's this, like, lurching, rhythmic sway. And I think I go back to that Downeaster Alexa song by Billy Joel. Jessica, you'll know this one, being where you're at. When he composed that song, Billy was thinking of, like, creating the swells with the percussion. And I thought that was really mindful in his choices in terms of how that composition would be arranged. I feel Tremor Christ does something similar in the sense that rhythmic sway to the rhythm guitar. It's very infectious. And, it's interesting with Matt not being on this track. Jack Irons bringing a very different feel to it. He really gives this song, I think, kind of like a unique, almost like getting your sea legs feel to it. There's just kind of this swaying motion to it. I think it's one of the most memorable grooves on the record. And I would argue when I first heard it, it was the one that, like, just really just enraptured me, because I heard it, and in my head I'm thinking, where is this taking me? Where is this going? And yeah, that's where we are.
The dissonant.
I still feel that way when I hear it now.
You hear those dissonant guitars and you're like, what is he playing? Is that out of tune? Is that intentional? No, it's intentional. Okay, where's this going now? But yeah, that lurching groove, I totally hear you. Jonathan, what'd you have Spin the Black Circle?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I took infectious to mean like something that makes you want to like jump up and down, like run around the block, like
no wrong way to interpret this, Jonathan.
Mix it up in the pit and whatnot. So that's why I went with Spin the Black Circle. I mean, I don't know. Again, listening back to it now, it puts a smile on my face that they were like, yes, this is gonna be the first single from one of the most anticipated records of that decade. And it's our like weirdo punk, like, chugga lugga lugga 2-minute rocker song. It's fantastic. And in I guess Infectious in the sense that when that song gets played, it doesn't get played that much anymore, but like it's always I don't know, it gets people moving.
Jonathan,
yes,
please tell me that there's photographic evidence of you mixing it up in the pit somewhere.
There probably isn't. We try to avoid that.
You know what? I don't believe you.
Circle Pit Cohen. Okay. All right. So you and I just picked Satan's Bed. I think, first of all, shout out to Jimmy Shoaf for sitting on that groove. It's that wraparound feel, right? Like you can't escape it. Like it's like the Lamb Chops play along song. This is the song that never ends. You can't stop it. Like someone needs to stop it for you. That's how infectious the groove is to me. Is like you keep on going the entire time. So I think the earworm quality of it is why I think it's the most infectious. And listen, if Jay-Z wants to yank it for a sample, I'm fine with that. That'd be kind of fun.
Good
what
call.
do you think?
So I think something similar. Like to me, it's kind of like, like that circus music. It's like a demented like calliope that just like, like a organ grinder kind of thing. But like with rock and roll, like at a like just like it's a party like starter to me. I don't know, and it sounds like like there should be like a carnival barker saying like step right up and see the freak show. And also it's kind of funny because like in retrospect, from the distance of a few years, I always thought that it was like sonically like half of a story where the other half is rival, because if you slow it down it's rival, and if you speed it up it's Satan's Bed, and like somehow those two songs go together for me. But anyway, they have that circular like we're gonna go into bizarro world, and it will never end, like a calliope, and then we're gonna talk about some crazy stuff and you don't know like what you're gonna see after you pay your quarter.
Well, the anti-hero and rival would end up sitting in Satan's Bed, so it works out.
But musically, I just, they seem to like fit.
I got you.
In a time warp.
All right.
Is Vitalogy the only Pearl Jam album with 3 different drummers on it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Dave. You've got Jack and Jimmy Shoaf on.
Is Jack only on Foxy Mop? He's right. It's only he's on, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Patrons said it's a 3-way tie for first between Whipping, Satan's Bed, and you're never gonna believe it, Aya Davanita.
Cool.
Which I totally get. That's our interstitial music for guests, and it is kind of like, ooh, am I trapped underwater? What is going on right now? All right, let's do most introspective lyric. So you can write down like a couple of lines of the song where it's from and explain which lines you want. Jonathan is writing the entire verse. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Jonathan says, cannot stay long. Some die just to live.
Love that.
Paul, once divided, nothing left to subtract. And then Jess, take my time, not my life, from Tremor Christ. I put bugs, and I'll give you the lines. Do I kill them, become their friend? Do I eat them raw or well done? Do I trick them? I don't think they're that dumb. Do I join them? Looks like that's the one. So that's my little selection. All right, Jess, talk to me about Tremor.
All right. Picture it. 1994.
I'm picturing.
Oh, no. So I don't know when Tremor Christ was written. I'm going to guess it was late 1993. Or
New
early
Orleans,
19-
right? That's in New Orleans?
Well, we know, like...
We played live for the first time, I think, in November of 93.
Right. So we're somewhere in 1993, this song gets written. And Pearl Jam in 1993, I mean, like, it's very well documented that was a very difficult time as far as like being a giant band and, you know, processing all that came along with that. And like this, you know, like glaring attention and like weird stuff happening with fame. And it was pretty hard. I mean, like there was a lot of hard things about that. And, you know, by the time the album came out, obviously, you know, Kurt Cobain had passed away and things like that. And I just, you know, it's extremely powerful to think about the lead singer of Pearl Jam writing, you know, I'm gonna just pause and do what I got to do to keep my head on straight. It was powerful as a fan to hear that. I mean, you know, even we were hearing that along the way as all this stuff was happening because they were playing it live. But you know, like it meant a lot because it seems so personal. Now, do we know it was personal or not personal? I mean, like, I'm going to guess it was a personal lyric. I mean, I'm just going to guess it at this point. Maybe in 1994, I would have said, oh, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it sounded pretty personal for him to say like, wait, whoa. I'm going to just, you know, we're going to take our time and do the things. We'll put Spin the Back Circle out as the first single or do whatever the no we have to do to, you know, pause on this. But like, how powerful is it for him to say that? You know, like, I'm not going to fall into the weird malaise of, you know, adulation.
And the self-awareness to recognize it, number one, and then have the courage to say, whoa. It's a big moment. Okay, Jonathan, you had, remind me again, it was
the little snippet that cannot some die just to live in. Very well said, Jess, by the way, as usual. But I almost feel like that lyric is like the other side of a coin in a way to that, which it's a commentary on that same kind of thing, but it's almost more urgent in that existing shouldn't feel this difficult. It shouldn't feel that hard. And this is time that presumably they wanted to enjoy. They were huge. They were making great music. But it could feel ephemeral so quickly. And of course, people associate that song with Kurt Cobain's passing. And Ed has always said it's not about that, but it's very difficult, especially for, I think, people our general age who grew up at that time and those events.
Lived through that, yeah. Yeah,
and so I don't know. That entire song has weight in many ways, but something about that little fragment of a lyric is meaningful.
Some die just the immortality thing. It's a play on Neil Young, right? The don't fade away, burn out, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt has been dead since 1994, but Nirvana is as well known as possibly they've ever been now. So he is still alive in one way or another.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good shout. All right, Paul. What'd you have again?
Based on the Generation AI kiddos that are wearing Nirvana T-shirts, having no idea that it's in reference to the band, I would agree. It's they are huge without anyone knowing that they're huge. You know, Jonathan, you used the word fragment, and I want to go back to that because when I think of this line from Nothing Man, once divided, nothing left to subtract. I think it's very, very deeply introspective, mostly because it's an inward reflection on this emotional fragmentation and this loss that is irreversible that subsequently follows that. And what I've always loved about this song is its ability to kind of take losing someone like a breakup, and instead of it being projected outward, which is how most of these songs were. As a matter of fact, that process of taking a breakup and projecting it outward is literally it created an entirely new musical genre called emo. So this idea though of turning it inward though, on a deeply introspective level, I think is what makes this song so beautiful and haunting and unique. And I think that the reason I find it so touching is this at its core, specifically with this line, this idea that when you have nothing left to subtract, you've essentially hit the mathematical equivalent of zero, right? So I mean, but on a mathematical level, yes, but on an emotional level too, you've hit emotional ground zero for yourself at that point in time.
Speaking of an emo album title,
Yeah, exactly. Emotional grounds. But I also think that what's interesting, and what I've always found profound about the song, is the lack of like personal accountability in it. I mean, there's just not a lot of acknowledgement from the speaker that perhaps, hey, my actions might have resulted in the loss of this relationship. It's really interesting how deeply isolated, siloed, and singular the perspectives are. And I think that it's important because that's kind of what allows you to kind of look inward and figure out, like, how did I allow this beautiful thing to deteriorate? You know what I mean? Like, how did I cause this situation, this emptiness, to continue to perpetuate? And I don't know. I mean, it's a beautiful moment of actualization, self-realization, and just coming to terms with the reality of a situation that I think when you're going through it, you're desperately trying to ignore or to gaslight yourself into believing it's not happening. So,
well said. And I wasn't trying to pick something to be like a weirdo, but I kept on coming back to Bugs because I think the whole song it's this self-analysis of Ed's predicament at the time, as it pertained to his fame and his place in the band and music, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he was going through like all of the steps, like all the possibilities in real time and having a conversation with himself and doing it honestly. And just to your point, being aware and being honest and having the courage to say it out loud, to admit it into a microphone, I think is a big deal. And to do it, to have that conversation with himself with an accordion as the only backing, it's like you can't avoid what that is. Sometimes you can hide stuff like that in a more general rock song because maybe the music is so interesting and there's a great lead line that you kind of maybe forget some of the nakedness of some of the lyrics. Here, you are very much reminded of what's being sung because the accordion will remind you, like, I'm here, but listen to that. So I thought that was a really, I think, a brave way to kind of slyly admit that he was having a bit of a crisis, and in a natural, snarky way that Ed does things. So I think that's
really interesting.
That's a good take.
I thought that's interesting because that song is so much about discomfort, the discomfort of the situation.
Absolutely.
It was so uncomfortable that he's like, let me go get like a thrift store accordion and like stick an ice pick in your ear with it, like on purpose. Like,
what a great analogy.
He wasn't trying to play it like, Weird Al or something. He wasn't trying to play it. It was like meant to be like discordant. And I think, wasn't there like some story he like found a wetsuit in the alley or something and it was crawling with bugs and he's like, oh, I'm going to just like be the most uncomfortable I can because comfort equals like accepting the weirdness of this situation. Yeah. You're right.
Huh?
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I was done.
So glad you shared that.
The patrons, what do they say? I will tell you right now, there's a lot of Nothing Man in here. A lot of Nothing Man. Someone said, some words when spoken can't be taken back was said 5 times. Someone said, immortality. Someone mentioned that the line, he who forgets will be destined to remember.
Future's above, but in the past he's slow and sinking. I mean, it's a whole song.
So I cannot stop the thought of running in the dark, coming up which way a sign all good truants must decide. That's a pretty damn good one too. So, but a lot of Nothing Man again. So very good, patrons. Very good. We've got, let's do one more. We're at 45 minutes here. I'm going to let you guys decide. Do you want to do greatest wow moment or do you want to do song most predictive future Pearl Jam sound?
I would say
that surprise.
Or risk not. Those I would be interested to hear people's take on that too.
Which one, Jonathan?
Risk not taken or predictive.
Jess?
A risk that didn't land, you meant?
Right? Yeah. I believe that
didn't
question. Risk that didn't land.
You want to know what the people said? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it was kind of all the same answer.
Oh yeah,
Fox him out.
Fox him out.
Really?
Yes. less interesting answers from them. So let's do most predictive future Pearl Jam sound. Let's do that one. Song most predictive.
Now I gotta erase a whole lyric.
You do. You do.
If we have time, Jason, and we can squeeze it in, I would love to do biggest surprise. Mostly because I've got like 6 of them, and I had a really hard time choosing.
6 of them, he says.
Yeah. So I would love to mine that field. Anyway, I'm ready to go with.
Okay. We're all good with
most
this one?
predictive of future sound.
Yeah. Jess. All right. 3, 2, 1. I can't read Paul's. What does it say?
Oh, it's gone.
I put Better Man. Jonathan put Corduroy and Aya Davanita as a tie, and Nothing Man from Jess, and Paul accidentally hit Corduroy. Corduroy. So we have 4 different answers. All right, Jonathan, talk to me about your tie.
No, we don't. Well, he had Corduroy too.
All right, I cheated.
Yeah, but he cheated.
I don't know. There's something about I Davanita listening to, again, just have recent playback of it. Like, there's parts of it that remind me of No Code vibes. Like, there's parts of it that remind me of binaural vibes. I know it was kind of like a fun little studio thing, but at that time, they had never been that kind of amusingly groovy with no particular purpose. And I don't know, they harnessed that in some really cool ways later.
All those yesterdays, obviously.
Sure, exactly. Corduroy to me is sort of a template for the big, like, massive arena songs.
Yeah.
Nailed it. What he just said, bottle that. That's it right there.
There's a lot more of those to come after this record. And that's a pretty good place to start if you're going to do a couple more of those.
Jess?
Well, I picked, Nothing Man because I feel like, there's a lot of through lines in Pearl Jam's music, but I feel like that sort of ballad that is, it's not a power ballad. It's not the right word. A ballad that is powerful live that people, sing along to, that like moves you when you hear it. Feels like something that like we hear on every record. Like there's always a Nothing Man.
There's always a Nothing Man. Just Breathe, maybe? Or is it too ballady?
That box for sure.
That's a little bit like, not, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's always like that ballad that just kind of is the heartstring puller. That's, like a big emotional moment. I don't know. It's just, you want me to back it up with evidence, and I can't pull it out of the ether right now.
I guess. I go with Better Man, and I say that because I think it's ironic considering how Ed refused to put it on a record for 4 years. But I think that's kind of become a blueprint for a number of songs. And I was trying to think of a better pick than this, and I couldn't. I think there's a great hook. You got earnest vocal, you got a pop sensibility, but yet it's also like delicate, but there's also some like classic feel to it. It's not overly heavy. There's no like high gain rock and roll portions to it. It's pretty much like, what if Bruce and Tom Petty kind of like hung out with Joe Strummer, and that's what you got. And I think Ed would write more and more around personal relationships as he got older, whereas, in the early days, it was a lot of storytelling of people he interacted with or observed, either on the micro or macro level. And I feel like he started to kind of maybe even that balance out, and maybe even switch to the inverse on Vitalogy and No Code, and doing some more personal stuff as he felt more comfortable. So this was actually a precursor to some of that stuff that we'd get on, Backspacer with Unthought Known, or Amongst the Waves, or even some Lightning Bolt. So that's where I landed. Paul, or did you want to
I'm going to take Jonathan's bottle. I'm taking his bottle, and I'm going to uncork it because I thought he nailed it. Look, it's the anthem model, right? It's that like the big communal anthem song. This is the prototype. This is the song. This is the platonic ideal of that, right? 2 records later, Given to Fly, 2009, Unthought Known. I Am Mine. All these songs are examples that are built on the foundation that Corduroy established on so many levels. It's just, it's the formula, right? It's like the long build, the dynamic arc, that the dramatic outro, all the things that we see play out in so many of these great mid-tempo songs. This is where it started. So I think you could argue that the Pearl Jam that we know today was born with this song in a lot of ways. And thematically too, when you think about what it was about in terms of not wanting to be commercially owned by a system, by a scene, by an industry, and their continual commitment to doing things their way. I don't know. I just think it is on so many levels, this song.
Pick up Backspacer at Target next Tuesday.
Hey there.
The patrons were pretty split on this one. Third place goes to Not For You, 14%. 20. I'm sorry. There's a tie. I thought I misread my own pie slices here. A tie for first place went to Corduroy and Nothing Man. So you guys were right. All right. What did I say?
Are we doing surprise?
We've got to.
You want to do
Jason,
surprise?
have you gone yet?
Yeah, I just said
okay.
Better Man.
Here's the reason why I feel like we need to do surprise.
Okay.
I'm going through this record and I'm thinking to myself, there are so many moments in this record that I think surprised me. Everything from the promotion of it to the way it was acknowledged by the public. To
Are we gonna do the actual thing? Or are you just gonna launch into your thing?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Greatest surprise. And by the way, in episodes past, some people have said that it was a negative surprise, so it could be negative if you want to go that route.
I've got so many from here. I can't wait to see what you want.
Well, you get one. So
I only get one.
I'm gonna take two. Sorry.
Damn it.
Thank you, Jess.
We're into overtime here. We're in the encore.
All right, I'll be fast in talking about it.
Jonathan,
we're gonna start with you.
Begrudgingly writing down because he's like, I was ready to go.
You ready?
3, 2, 1. Jonathan says Immortality. Paul says Spin. The Black Circle wins the Grammy. I said Art Rock / Weirdness. And what did you say? Knowing
all the songs before it came out.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let's start with you.
So
what an ending.
These are like two related things. So number one, never in the history of Pearl Jam did we know all the songs, all other than the experiments, obviously, before this record came out.
Because they played it on the Versus tour, right?
Yeah, people were seeing them on tour in April or whatever, and then like 6 months
Atlanta
later,
'94, right, Jess? I mean, they played like 3 songs off this record.
They played every.
They did play 3 at that show.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They played Satan's Bed and what else did they play?
Better Man.
Okay.
Whipping as well.
Whipping. Thank you.
But I mean, I remember in the summer of '94, like wondering what was going to be on the record and like making wondering what might be on the next Pearl Jam record and like having this long list of songs that it could be that they had played. And then they said, oh, we're going to have a record. And it was those songs. It was just like, oh my God, we know this music. So that's the first thing. And then the second part of that is, oh my God, there was a record out like 1 year after the other record. Holy
right.
Very
now
Zeppelin,
we wait like
Beatles
9
of
years,
them.
but not then.
I mean, but it was weird even at that time in a normal like 2-year cycle for giant bands for them to say like, you know what, we're going to have a record, 1 year later. That was wild crazy, especially after like, all the like, we sold 1 million in a week and what are we going to, how do we digest that? But here comes another record.
I have a question for you guys. When you were compiling this list of songs that were new, they're like, okay, are these going to be part of the next record? What did you call them? Did you know all the titles?
I was a kid, man. I wasn't.
We were just guessing, I think. And also there were bootlegs.
The Italian boots, right? They gave them all
names for it that didn't make any sense, but
right.
I traded tapes at that time. I was like a college kid trading tapes for blanks and postage.
Yeah, I'm just curious
I have
what
an
they were
Italian
labeled
boot with Last Exit on it. Do you know what the bootleg called it? 3 days.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, right.
I would always go look at those in like the record stores in New York and go like, I can't afford that. It's $50. And
Oh my
they
God.
were a fortune, dude. It was like so expensive.
When I was
and
in
the
high
quality
school,
was crap too. It was just
yeah, but it was a song. I had like, Tremor Christ, what is that?
what is that?
You know?
That was something that we did in high school in the mid to late 90s. We would come down, take the train to New York on a Friday afternoon, and we just hit like Bleecker Street and just thumb through all the import, what's in there that I haven't seen before. And yeah, it was like $50-$60 for like, 2 CDs from fucking Milan 96. And you're like, do I want this? Do I really want to spend this money on this thing? And then one time I bought one. I bought a Metallica one from, I don't know what country it was. Some big like plastic, like, whoa, look at this giant book. And it was like just 2 CDs. But the quality was dog shit. And I'm like, this is not good. But anyways, good times. Jonathan, what was your choice again?
I erased my original answer, which was that it existed at all.
Oh,
okay.
Just kind of hit on that. And so we don't need to rehash that, but that in and of itself is an achievement, I think. So I went with Immortality just because to me, that's a great example of them capturing a moment, not only in their own lives within the band, but with what was going on in the world at the time. And it's just a complete representation of Pearl Jam right then. So I think that it stands out in that way, maybe a bit more than some of the other songs for me.
I remember Paul and I we haven't done it in a long time, but we one of the crux, the anchors of the show in the early days was lyric and live cut of the week. So you'd pick a song, you pick a little chunk of lyrics, we talk about what that is, even as it pertains outside of the context of the song. And then Paul, for many years, was curating the best live version of each song. And when we got to Immortality, I remember I was listening to like a number of versions because I think you were like kind of indecisive on a couple. It's like, let me go ahead and listen to a few. And I was like, this song was absolutely magical on that 95 tour. Magical with Jack Irons. The way they would just absolutely just vibe it out on the outro. Jack is going crazy. Stone's like, I don't know where the hell Stone's in. He's off in God knows where, but he's still in the groove. Mike's just, possessed Mike as he always is. And I'm just like, this is, how do you pick? Is it San Jose? Is it Salt Lake City? I couldn't, I don't remember what we picked, but goddamn, it wasn't good. Anyways, great choice. I love that song. I'm going to let you go last, Paul. So I'm going to say my choice was art rock / weirdness. And I say that because when I was a Ute, if I can quote a fantastic movie, I listened and I go, what the hell? Because, 12-year-old me is like, I hear Animal and Even Flow and Go and Daughter, like I'm used to a certain kind of thing. And then I'm hearing Tremor Christ. And what is this Pride 2 interlude thing? What is he saying? Privacy? Like, I was thrown. And I knew Better Man, and I had heard Quarter on the radio, but then like, what's all this other stuff on here? And then I'm opening the packaging because it's at my buddy's house, and I go, the fuck is this? Like, what are these So it totally threw me. And as a 12-year-old, I just didn't understand why they would do that. Why would you do that? Obviously, older and wiser now. I see why they did it. But that was such a shock. And it was at the time, a negative surprise in that I was thrown because I was expecting just straight ahead rock and roll throughout. And it's a great surprise years later when I was like, you know what? That's fucking really cool, that last exit beat. That whipping song, man, that smashes. Immortality, oh my God. So it kind of was an evolved surprise in a lot of ways. So I love this record, but it was weird how it kind of was here and then it was there. So that's what it was for me. Paul, you can pick 2.
I get 2. Well,
finish your drink first.
Hey, I don't know. How about the biggest band in the world at the time? Biggest grunge band for sure in the world at the time, with these with the litany of like 70s classic rock influences, winning a Grammy for a punk song. I remember when that happened. In my head, I was thinking to myself of the authors of Even Flow, of Alive, of Jeremy, of Animal, of Daughter, of Rearview Mirror. Spin the Black Circle. Now it's time to give him a Grammy. I was like, I to this day, I cannot reconcile how that happened. It almost felt like a token award to them for being like, yeah, we kind of overlooked them in the last two records. I guess we got to give them one now. It's like, what was that? To this day, I don't understand it. And the irony is, and I have had fun with the whole dad punk thing in the last, 10, 15 years that they've been doing. I think they finally nailed it with Super Blood Wolfman. But all that being said, how did this song win a Grammy? I still don't. To me, it was the biggest shocking surprise. When this record dropped, if you had polled everyone listening to the record and said, pick a song you think it's going to win a Grammy, I'm going to pick the punk song about listening to vinyl.
Yeah, not very deep, guys.
No.
This is the one you want to go with?
Now, granted, there was the whole controversy, on MTV about, was it about heroin and people protesting and not wanting kids to listen to the song when it had nothing to do with any of that. I remember that, all those shenanigans too, as I'm sure that Jessica and Jonathan, you do too. But I still cannot believe that this song won a Grammy. Before I go on to the second one, I have to ask the two of you, was that surprising to you as well? Or was I on an island with that?
I feel like I knew how the Grammys worked a little bit. And like, there's this idea that, well, that was the first single and this is a big band and we haven't sort of recognized them yet. And like, like a lot of things had happened. I know we talked about Kurt Cobain a few times, but like when you look at like the landscape of music in the period that they were voting on, it was like, we know what this is. This is rock and roll. We don't know any of the other songs. We know that this is the single. We're just going to check a box. I'm sorry. That's just what it was. It wasn't.
So you weren't surprised then?
I wasn't that surprised. It was weird for that song to get nominated, but that was the single, and I knew that's how it worked. By that point, I knew how it worked.
Yeah, I don't remember being very surprised. At that point, it was like these kind of things just are seeming to happen to the band. These strange, like,
it's dominoes falling into place for you.
Well, or just like as you guys have already pointed out, like the incongruity of it was kind of like valid in a Pearl Jam context at that point. They were doing a lot of things that upset expectations, and the industry didn't really know what to do with them. And so, yeah, it's also kind of evocative of the industry of that time that, as Jess pointed out, it was literally like well over a year and change by the time we received the award for that song from the time it had been released. So,
yeah,
that's the. I remember asking about the window when it comes to nominations for the Grammys. They're like, oh, it's like November 1st of the previous year. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. It's changed a lot too since then.
That's why, because it came out November 22nd or something like that on vinyl. And so that it hit that window, but the awards wasn't until 14, 15 months later. Very strange.
So go ahead, Jessica.
No. I didn't want to hone in on your time, but I had another thought that I really wanted to express before we stop talking about Vitalogy, because we haven't talked about like that. If I had to look at like the most difficult years of Pearl Jam's existence, there are two, and 1994 is one of them, and 2000 is one of them. But 1994 was like horrific in many, many ways. From, obviously, we've talked about the passing of Kurt Cobain. They lost a drummer. They decided to speak up for their rights with ticketing. And then I remember them having planned some kind of tour in the summer or fall of 1994 that they had to shelve. No, I don't remember why I know that or where that came from, but I was a kid at the time, so it wouldn't have been like any kind of like special knowledge or whatever. I just remember knowing that they were supposed to tour and they didn't because like the ticketing thing became a problem. Right. And then the very next thing that happened was they parted ways with Dave Abbruzzese, and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, there's a fame crisis, there's a ticketing crisis, and there's no drummer. Is this band even going to exist? I was holding my breath for most of that year. So the very next thing to hear from them is like, oh my God, we have this whole album, and the guy who was the guy who put us together because he was in the Chili Peppers, he's our drummer now, and like everything is cool. Like, what the heck? And the album is called Vitalogy because like they lived. Again, it's like the band who lived.
Jonathan, what was your reaction to what Jess was just talking about, that little timeline there?
Yeah, it's amazing because I'm also now thinking a few months past that, and they record Mirrorball with Neil Young. Like, what just a crazy, crazy run.
Yeah.
Musically, creatively, like the people they were meeting and working with, and the things they were navigating. It's really remarkable.
You know, we started this calendar year with we did a live stream in honor of Monkey Wrench Radio, and that was a lot of fun. We had Brett Eliason on because him and his dog were engineering that whole thing, and that was a lot of fun. But the next episode, we talked about the Voter for Choice shows that Jonathan brought up, and we had Kathy on, and she was there. And
I was there too.
were you really?
Yeah.
That and to see her reaction, how it, what you're just talking about, coming from a place of like, what, I don't know what's happening, to, ooh, these guys feel centered, they feel together. You know, the statements that Ed was making on the stage about someone being annoyed that Dave wasn't there, and he's like, well, Jack saved us. Like, what a trippy 6 months from, you know, August to January. So much life happened in that span of time.
Well, they turned to music, right? Like when shit hits the fan, like, let's just make music. It seems to have gotten them through 35 years.
That's a great mantra.
Indeed.
I'll tell you, I've loved this discussion, and mea culpa, I accept full responsibility for blowing up the TRT. But the reality was, I had to get your thoughts on some of these ideas. So, thank you.
No problem.
Well, for the first time on our show, very excited to have had author, writer, Jonathan Cohen. Thank you, man.
Thank you both for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, Jonathan.
You got it.
And for the third time, we'll send you the punch card so you can get your free sandwich in a couple of shows. You got to catch up to Brett Eliason, though. Brett's scheduled to come back in a couple of weeks, so he's going to add another notch to his belt there. Jessica Letkemann.
Thank you so much for having me again. I hope you guys aren't tired of me. I love talking about this stuff.
No, we love having you on. It's always a pleasure. You humble us, quite frankly.
That's very true. keep us down here, tethered to the universe. Everybody out there, thank you for watching or listening. Plenty of links below for all kinds of great stuff, including EBRP. Send them your money, and maybe you'll get the Eddie Vedder Ohana Festival poster and sticker and pinned pack. And if you're watching here on YouTube, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And Paul, if you're listening only,
you're going to rate, you're going to review, hopefully you're going to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm. 'Tis the season to be merry, and feed the hungry and the algorithm, please.
And if you are like Paul, you will be running to the store tomorrow to get yourself 4 cases of Winter Solstice beer.
Yes.
En route, not sponsored.
Anderson Valley's finest. All right.
We'll see you next week, everybody. And until we do, you've been listening to or watching
The State of Love and Trust.